Okay, now that we've covered those core fundamentals, let's talk about application of those. Well, as I mentioned in the last segment, I'm a real estate investor. I invest in residential real estate. However, to do that, to kind of set myself up for doing that, while I was at the university, I studied real estate. I then passed the state examination and got my real estate license, and I sold real estate for a number of years. So I realized that I have not only training, but experience and knowledge about the subject that I'm investing in. Most people don't have that. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, they don't have the will, they don't have the cash, the credit, or the courage to invest in real estate. And it's been said that a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. Real estate is one of those areas where you really need to know what you're doing. And for me, real estate has been very good to me because I find that it's very understandable. I can understand it. Maybe that comes from the training that I've had, the exposure, the experience that I've had. I also find it to be very controllable. I understand that I can take a piece of real estate and do certain things to it and affect its value. I can cause its value to go up by what I choose to do to it. And I can affect not only its value, but the amount of cash flow that it throws off. So I like real estate. And I made some very good income in the jobs that I've had in the past, but most of my larger checks have all come from real estate. Real estate has been very good to me, but I think that's because of my passion for it, my understanding of it, and my knowledge, experience, and skills in knowing what to do with a particular piece of real estate. So I choose to invest money in real estate. I choose to acquire residential real estate properties as assets. I take money, I put it into a piece of real estate, and I make that piece of real estate generate income for me. I make assets go to work for me. Because remember, you only have two choices, and that's my choice. I make assets work for me. And over the years, I've taught real estate investing. Now, this video is not about real estate investing, but I need to address that because, you see, when it comes to investing, there's really only a few ways to do it. You can go into what I call paper assets, and that's everything from what you do at the bank, checking, savings, certificates of deposit, money market funds, to things like mutual funds, annuities, stocks, bonds, those type of products, your 401ks, IRAs, KEOs, all that stuff. Those are all paper-based assets, okay? Or let me say paper-based products. I'm not going to call them assets because most of them do not generate cash flow. Okay, most of them do not put money in your pocket. They're based on equity. I won't go into that, but they're based on a rise in value. But again, with assets, we're talking about cash flow, real money coming into your pocket. Most of those paper-based products do not generate real cash flow coming into your pocket. So, but you got that classification, paper-based assets. Then you have business ownership. And that could be anything, running some type of business where you're in it to generate a profit. So you work for profit as opposed to a paycheck. Paper-based products, business ownership, and real estate investing. Those are really the big three in terms of types of investments. So I choose to invest in business ownership and real estate, because those are both items that operate on that right side of the cash flow quadrant, that side where 90% of wealth is generated in the United States. I choose to operate on that side. So I invest in real estate and I pursue business ownership. Now for business ownership, not only was I looking for how I wanted to generate income for myself, I was looking at how can I help other people do likewise. And as I've taught real estate investing, I find that most people lack the essentials that are necessary to do well over there. And a big part of it is knowledge. A little bit of knowledge is dangerous. So you need to really understand what's going on in the real estate arena. So knowledge, skills, money, credit, connections, wisdom, insight, intuition, all those things operate, creativity, all those things operate over here in investing in real estate. So I was looking for a way that I can help people where they didn't have to bring so much to the table. They didn't have to have the knowledge, skills, and understanding and years of experience that I have. And what I find is the industry of network marketing offers average people a way to produce above average results. And Warren Buffett made a statement that said that he was talking kind of about investing and kind of where to put your money as you're looking at business opportunities. He said something to the effect that what you do on a daily basis ought to be your hobby. What other people do on a daily basis ought to be your business. And what that means is that what people do on a routine basis, on a daily basis, offers an opportunity to position yourself and get paid off of what people want or need in their lives. And so what I've done is looked at a variety of business opportunities and kind of settled on a couple of them to utilize in my income producing system. And the system utilizes a very low cost startup business to give people a way to start producing income without having to incur a lot of risk. So by keeping the costs low, it gave me a way to get into another asset and yet have an opportunity to generate a rather substantial income. Keeping the costs low, but yet taking the lid off of the income side of things. I went to a business meeting years ago where the instructor made a statement that has stuck with me over the years. And he was talking about in terms of developing a business. He said, first develop your income before developing your expenses. Because a lot of people go into business and they think that just because they spend money, that it's automatically going to make income. Not necessarily so. The focus needs to be on generating income. And if you want to do anything, you want to watch your expenses and keep your expenses low. Okay? And that's the approach that I've taken. Keep the expense or cost low and yet remove the ceiling off of the income opportunity. That's what I choose to do. You're welcome to do whatever you want to do because it's your life, you live it, you make your own choices, your own decisions. But that's what I choose to do. And so one of the internet-based businesses that I'm involved in has that structure. Very low cost, anyone can really afford it. And so that gives people a way to get into the ownership of assets and then generate some additional income. And from there, I identified another product that many people, millions of people partake in every day. And so I decided to position myself in that business. Because see, what people do on a daily basis, another way you can phrase that is that there's a demand. People need and want certain products. And so I simply identify the demand and then identify how I can position myself to get paid from that demand. If people want to buy it, why not be on the provider side of that product or service that people want and let them pay me? Makes sense to me. So that's kind of how I apply it. And in the process, what I'm doing is those same core fundamentals. I'm identifying assets so that I can acquire additional assets because assets make me money. So I continue to acquire assets. Assets that generate cash flow. Assets that give me a way to leverage myself. Because I don't want to have to spend my time on a daily basis earning income. I position myself so that my assets generate income, and those assets give me a way of leveraging myself, which means that by bringing other people into the business and giving them the same opportunity, it gives me a greater and greater number of people helping me produce income. Makes sense to me, so I do it. So I tie in leverage. And the overarching umbrella for everything that I do is minding my own business. Okay? That's just what I do. I mind my own business, and I encourage other people to do the same thing, to mind your own business, to follow the practice of acquiring assets, income producing assets. So I do that. I'm partaker of my own teaching. And then in the process of doing that, everything has to offer me the opportunity for residual income. Because again, I told you in the last segment that anything that I do, I want that residual component there. If it doesn't offer the opportunity for residual income, I may take a look at it, but it's not going to be high on my priority list because it has to produce residual income. I only have so much time. We all only have 24 hours a day. And so we're very limited in terms of what we can do. But by taking and combining the power of leverage and residual income, we have the opportunity to generate above average results. And that's what I choose to do. So I take those core fundamentals and I look for assets that I can acquire, assets that make sense to me, assets that I think make sense to other people, and I simply position myself to get paid. And so here's kind of the fundamental or the understanding that goes along with the words that I just shared with you. It's necessary to position yourself to get paid by people spending. That's what business is. A beautician or a barber has simply positioned themselves to get paid for providing this hair care service. Okay? They have the skill, they have the knowledge to do what they do, but they're on the receiving end of cash flow every time they provide that service. Your grocery store provides products and services that people want and need. And every time someone buys a product, the business is on the receiving end of that cash flow. The customer gets the product, the business gets the cash. And so all they've done is position themselves on the receiving end of financial transactions. That's what I do. I position myself on the receiving end of cash flow. Using the real estate example again, I own the property, I put tenants in them, and every month they pay their rent. I'm on the receiving end of that cash flow. Sure, I have costs, but understand once again, go back to the definition of asset. The asset is something that puts money in your pocket, more money than the cost of ownership. I have expenses, sure I do. Every business that operates has expense. McDonald's, a franchise costs now what, $1 million, $2 million? I don't know what the number is, but it's very expensive to get a McDonald's franchise. And they have a lot of operating overhead. But people buy McDonald's franchises and spend a tremendous amount of dollars to acquire the franchise and operate the franchise because the potential for profit is still there. I just choose to keep my costs a lot lower, but I'm doing the same thing, acquiring assets and letting those assets generate my income. So that's my approach to taking those core fundamentals and apply them in my own life. And I just want to make one more comment. In my case, I worked jobs of a variety of types, but I began investing in real estate back in 1981. And over the years, I acquired a number of pieces of property. Okay? And I'll just throw up on the screen examples of some of them so you can see just some of the projects that I've done over the years. I've done quite a few projects. And I continue to invest in real estate because, as I said, real estate has been very good to me. But from there, I start looking at the internet, because the internet has been referred to as the real estate of the 21st century. And I realized that I could likewise position myself on the internet to where I can provide services that people need and get paid that way. And that would expand my reach. Instead of just having tenants in my local area, I could now provide products and services to people really globally. So my reach can be international, and yet if I set the system up right, it wouldn't require me to do work on a daily basis. Because just like right now I'm recording this video, once it's done, it's done. And it's a tool that continues to work for me day after day after day. So you can call it an asset, because this video now works for me, helping me produce an income on autopilot 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's just taking those core fundamentals and having the willingness and the courage to apply that knowledge and make the results happen. When I buy a piece of real estate, I do what I need to do to the property, I get a tenant in there, and I make it produce income for me. When I set the system up, it's the same kind of thing. I had to learn what I need to do, I had to do it, and make it generate the results that I wanted. So it's in these three areas. It's in the thinking, the learning, and the doing. And hopefully by now you understand that you have that same ability, freedom, and power to think, learn, and do, and cause the results that you want. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next session.